Hi, Will. What are you doing? Hi, Samir. I just finished my work. Why? Oh, that's good. As a professional accountant, we need to follow our fundamental principles like integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality and professional behavior to show our professional knowledge and skill. Do you know, there is circumstances or relationships that will create a threat, which compromise in a compliance with fundamental principles. That's why, the accountant used the conceptual framework approach, that will assist us to comply with the ethical requirements by laws. Yeah, that's right. We need to evaluate and use an appropriate safeguards, that can be applied to eliminate the threat to an acceptable level. We also need to comply with the provision in Section 290 and 291, if there is a breach of an independence of provision by the laws. Here, as an accountant, we also need to evaluate and consult with other members, if there is unusual circumstances encountered that will result in a disappropriate outcome or an outcome that may not be in the public interest. Safeguards that we use can be categorized into a safeguard that created by the profession, legislation or regulation, and safeguards in the work environment. That's why we called safeguards as an action to eliminate or reduce threat to an acceptable level. Safeguards that created by the profession, legislation or regulation includes educational, training and experience required for the entry into the profession. It also includes corporate governance regulations and professional standards. The external review by a legally empowered third party of the reports, returns, communications or information produced by a professional accountant. There are certain safeguards that are likely to identify or deter the unethical behavior, such as, by having a well-publicized complaints systems that operate by the employing organization, and also, a duty to report for the breach of ethical requirements. The professional accountant also may face a conflict of interest while serving a professional activity. The person in conflict might be the interest party, or the professional accountant, that are related to that matter. William. Did you heard anything about other department? I heard they have a conflict within a department. Oh. I'm not really interested about other department, maybe that's why I did not hear anything about the conflict, but, you know, right? It's normal to have a conflict and it's depend on them, how they resolve their problems. Yeah. You're right. Like us, as a professional accountant, we need to resolve out conflict in accordance with our fundamental principles, whether it's a formal or informal. The resolution process should have a relevant factor, such as relevant facts involving ethical issues, established internal procedures, alternative courses of action and fundamental principles matter related to the matter. That's why it will be good if the accountant to document the substance of the issue, the details of the discussion and the decision made for that matter. And maybe they can consider to obtain a professional advice from the professional body, without breaching the fundamental principles of confidentiality. Since the discussion will be on an anonymous basis, or they can have a discussion with their legal advisor. That will be protected under legal privilege. The professional accountant can refuse to stay in the engagement team, or resign from the engagement, or firm or the employing organization, if the ethical conflict cannot be resolved, even after using all the relevant possibilities. Here, communication is important with those in charge with the governance in accordance with the bylaws, so that they will be well informed about the matter. Jessica, now, you are working as an accountant, right?
Yes. I'm working as an accountant at big company.
You know, working as an accountant you should comply with the fundamental principle like integrity. So what do you think?
Yes, you're right. As an accountant, we have to be straightforward and honest in all professional and business relationships, that what we call integrity based on Section 110 of Malaysian Institute of Accountants.
What if there is a statement that contain false material or mislead statements?
As a professional accountant, we shall not associate it with the reports, communication or other information that contains a false material or mislead statements. The statements also cannot be furnished recklessly. Confusion also happen if the information to be included have been omits or obscures. That's why we should aware of the information and take steps to disassociate it from such information.
Hi, Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Hi, Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Samir. What are you doing? Scott. Hi. Will. What are you doing? Sc Hi. I'm looking for the Malaysian Institute of Accountant bylaws that we studied today. Oh. Can you tell me about the objectivity of the fundamental principle that the accountant should comply with? Yeah, sure. Since the professional accountant may be exposed to the situation where they may impair objectivity. So, as a professional accountant, they should not perform any professional service if there is bias, conflict of interest, or the undue influence of others. Thank you for your explanation, Scott.
Will, you know, we, as an accountant, have imposed to the principle of professional competence and due care.
Yeah. All professional accounts should follow that obligations, where we have to maintain our professional knowledge and skill, at all level, to ensure that our clients or employers receive a competent service and aware of the limitations inherent in the services. We also need to provide service that complies with the applicable technical and professional standards.
Besides, the services that we perform require us to exercise of sound judgment. You know, the professional competence can be divided into two separate phases, which is attainment of professional competence and maintenance of professional competence.
Yeah, you're right. The maintenance of professional competence requires us to have a continuing awareness and an understanding of relevant technical, professional and business developments towards our professional environment.
That's why, as a professional accountant, we should have appropriate training and supervision, so that we can act in accordance with the requirements of the assignment and on a timely basis.
Hey Bill. I've got confidential information from my company that is useful for both of us. And maybe you will be promoted. In return, you can help me to get a position as one of the accountants in your company, as I would love to work in a big company as yours. Let me get this straight. I'm a professional accountant that imposes an obligation on Section 140 confidentiality. Do you mean the principle of confidentiality, where professional accountants are refrained from disclosing confidential information outside the firm without proper and specific authority? Yes. Unless there is a legal or professional rights to disclose. Do you have any rights? Actually, no. We are also refrained from using confidential information for our personal advantage or the advantage of the third party. So, what do you say? You were right. I should oblige with the section.
Okay, class. Do you have any question?
I have a question. I don't understand Section 150 professional behavior. Can you please explain?
Under Section 150.1, professional accountants must comply with relevant laws and regulations.
Okay. So is that all?
No, there is more. They should also avoid any action that may discredit the profession.
Oh. Does that include adversely affect the good reputation of the profession by reasonable third party?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now I understand.
Hey Alberto. I'm submitting the advertisement, marketing and promotional material to the upper management for further approval. Can you help me to check if these materials meet the requirements?
Sure. Let me see.
So, how is it?
Okay. It was professionally dignified and in good taste. It was also carried out in accordance with the relevant legislation where applicable.
But?
No but. Everything's good.
Thank you so much.
Claudette, do you know threat may be created by a relationship or circumstances?
Yes, I know. It also will affect with the compliance of the fundamental principles. Threats also have more than one categories.
As a professional accountant, our judgment or behavior should not be influenced by the threat of financial or other interest.
A professional accountant also should not have a self-review threat, where they will not evaluate the results of a previous judgment made or service performed by other professional accountant appropriately. Besides, there is an advocacy threat, where the professional accountant will promote a client's or employer's position, to the point that the professional accountant's objectivity is compromised.
They can also feel intimidated, because of actual or perceived pressures that will deter them from acting objectively.
A close relationship with a client or employer also a threat to the professional accountant. They will unable to make a decision because of mixed feelings.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. What are you doing? I am doing my assignment, audit subject. Oh great. I want to ask you about independence. Oh, what do you understand about independence? Based on my reading, independence consists of independence of mind and independence of appearance. Okay. The expression of a conclusion without being affected by influences that compromise professional judgment. Answer me, is this independence of mind or independence of appearance? Aha. Independence of mind. Great! An individual is allowed to act with integrity and exercise objectivity and professional skepticism. Meanwhile, for independence of appearance, the avoidance of facts and circumstances that are so significant would be concluded, considering all the specific facts and circumstances, that affirms, or a member of the audit team's integrity, objectivity or professional skepticism has been compromised. Oh, this concept should be applied by professional accountant so that the threats to independence can be identified, then evaluated and apply safeguards, when necessary, to eliminate the threats or reduce them to an acceptable level, right? Yes! Fantastic. How MIA by law guidelines in achieving independence? MIA by laws establishes a conceptual framework that requires firms and members of audit teams to, like you said just now, identify, evaluate, and address threats to independence. It accommodates many variations in circumstances that create threats to independence and can deter a professional accountant from concluding that a situation is permitted if it is not specifically prohibited. Oh, wow! Do you know the circumstances that independence will not be achieved? I remember only 3 circumstances. First is financial interest. The existence and significance of any threat created depends on the role of the person holding the financial interest, whether the financial interest is direct or indirect, and the materiality of the financial interest. Financial interests may be held through an intermediary. For example, a collective investment vehicle, estate or trust. Secondly, loans and guarantees. It may create a threat to independence. If the loan or guarantee is not made under normal lending procedures, terms and conditions, a self-interest threat would be created. That would be so significant that no safeguards could reduce the threat to an acceptable level. Next is business relationship. A close business relationship arises from a commercial relationship or common financial interest and may create self-interest or intimidation threats. Good. The examples of relationship are having a financial interest in a joint venture, arrangements to combine the services or products of the firm and clients and to market the package with reference to both parties and distribution or marketing arrangements. Oh yeah. Complete examples. Another circumstances are family and personal relationship. Family and personal relationships may create self-interest, familiarity or intimidation threats. Next is employment with an audit client. Familiarity or intimidation threats may be created if a position to exert significant influence over the preparation of the client's accounting records or the financial statements on which the firm will express an opinion has been a member of the audit team or partner of the firm. How about temporary staff? A self-review threat may be created through ending of staff by a firm to an audit client that will be given only for a short period of time. Providing non-assurance services that would not be permitted under this section or assuming management responsibilities should not be involved by the firm's personnel. Other circumstances is recent service with an audit client. Self-interest, self-review or familiarity threats may be created if a member of the audit team has recently served as a director, officer, or employee of the audit client. Next circumstances is serving as a director or officer of an audit client. There will be no partner or employee shall serve as a director or officer of an audit client. If so, if a director or officer of an audit client served by a partner or employee of the firm, the self-review and self-interest threats created would be so significant that no safeguard could reduce the threat to an acceptable level. The last circumstances is long association of senior personnel with an audit client. The same senior personnel will create familiarity and self-interest threats on an audit engagement over a long period of time. There are many factors that affect the significance of threats. What are the factors? How long the individual has been a member of the audit team, the role of the individual on the audit team, the structure of the firm, the nature of the audit engagement, whether the client's management team has changed, and whether the nature or complexity of the client's accounting and reporting issues has changed will affect the significance of the threats. What will happen if the auditor is not independent? Termination of the audit engagement is necessary for a consequence of a breach. The firm shall report the breach to a member body, relevant regulator or oversight authority. The firm shall communicate the breach to the engagement partner in accordance with its policies and procedures, and evaluate the significance of that breach and its impact on the firm's objectivity and ability to issue an audit report. Aha! Now I understand. Thanks! Great. It is good to hear that you understand. So, what do you need me to consult you with?
Okay. I would like to know about the method of practice of a chartered accountant.
All right. According to Section 500, a member in public practice is not allowed to practice as a chartered accountant or licensed own name, or in the name of his or her partner being chartered accountant, or in the name of the firm existing at the time.
Oh. Can you explain more details about the statement in the name of firm?
Okay. A member in public practice shall not practice as a chartered accountant other than in the name of a firm existing at the time of the coming into operation of the Act, or formed thereafter, provided that the partners in Malaysia are eligible to be registered as chartered accountants or licensed accountants.
Okay, I know that.
But, subject to Section 500.1, a member in public practice shall be allowed to practice as a chartered accountant or licensed accountant in the name of a local or international firm, which is affiliated to the member in public practice, provided that the use of such name is with the consent of the relevant local or international firm.
Oh. Now I understand. Is there anything else that a member in practice is not allowed to do?
Yes. There is more. He or she is not allowed to hold himself or herself out to be a member in public practice in any manner whatsoever, and not allowed to provide public practice services as a chartered accountant, auditor, tax consultant or tax advisor, or any services of a similar nature that may indicate or be likely to lead persons to infer that he or she is a member in public practice or qualified by any written law to practice the profession of or is in practice as a chartered accountant.
Okay. So, what does every member in public practice require to?
They are required to register his firm with the Institute by informing the Institute in writing of the name and address of his or her firm and the addresses of any branches and any other relevant particulars requested by the Institute.
And then?
They are required to inform the Institute of any changes in respect of the particulars referred to in subparagraph within 1 month thereafter, and if the firm is associated with any other firm of accountants, register such association whether local or overseas with the Institute, and this must be supported by evidence. And lastly, upon registration of his firm with the Institute, lodge an annual return with the Institute by the 31st of January of each calendar year, despite the fact that there may be no changes in particulars to the firm.
Oh. Okay. Thanks for your consultation.
Hello! Ha, Jonathan. Are you busy right now? No. Why? I want to ask you, what fee that a professional accountant may quote? A professional accountant, in public practice, may quote whatever fee is deemed appropriate. Oh. I heard that one professional accountant, in public practice, may quote a fee lower than another. Is it true? No. That is not in itself unethical. Nevertheless, there may be threats to compliance with the fundamental principles arising from the level of fees quoted. Oh, okay. So, how if there are existence and significance of threats? The significance of any threat shall be evaluated, and safeguards applied. Oh, I know what you mean. Safeguard is like making the client aware of the terms of the engagement and the basis on which fees are charged, and which services are covered by the quoted fee. Yes. Another example of safeguard is making the client aware of the statutory duties and responsibilities involved. and also assigning appropriate time and qualified staff to the task. Oh, okay. What about the fees charged for all engagements? Fees charged should be a fair reflection of the value of the work involved and should take into account the other things. What are the things? The skill and knowledge required for the type of work involved, the level of training and experience of the persons necessarily engaged on the work, the time necessarily occupied by each person engaged on the work, and the degree of responsibility and urgency that the work entails. Oh, okay. I understand now. Thanks! You are welcome.
Hi. Hello, Kim. Did you go to audit talk this morning? Yes, I did. How about you? Same to you. But there is one part that I don't understand. Which one? Referral fees or commissions? Oh. Why you did not ask during the Q&A session? Let me explain what I understand, okay? A referral fee or commission relating to a client may be received by a professional accountant. A professional accountant in public practice may also pay a referral fee to obtain a client. For example, if both of us a professional accountant in public practice, and I do not provide specific service required, I will receive a fee for referring a continuing client to you. Oh. Okay. How about the commission? A professional accountant in public practice may receive a commission from a third party in connection with the sale of goods or services to a client. The examples of safeguard are disclosing to the client any arrangements to pay a referral fee to another professional accountant for the work referred. Beside that, disclosing to the client any arrangements to receive a referral fee for referring the client to another professional accountant in public practice and obtaining advance agreement from the client for commission arrangements in connection with the sale by a third party of goods or services to the client. Oh. Now I understand.